Never told. 7 epic ways adapt or be left behind. The truth haunts us at midnight. In the chill of midnight, shadows warped in the corners of a cramped room, and Alex could feel the weight of a sinister secret suffocating him. His heartbeat thudded like a drum of disaster as he unearthed an ancient cryptic book. Its pages rusted with bizarre symbols that glowed under the cracked, flickering light bulb. Each symbol seemed to dance, whispering forgotten truths that nobody knew, truths that echoed in the depth of his shattered mind. The air was thick with a sense of dread, every tick of the clock counting down to something unknown, a countdown of nightmares waiting to unfold. His apartment had become a jumbled mess since he stumbled upon that book. Crumpled paper sprawled out like a tortured soul, half-burned candles flickering with an eerie glow, and closed windows shrouded in heavy drapes to keep the world out, yet inside a tempest brewed. Suddenly a thunderous crash echoed from the kitchen, sending shards of fear through him. He had lived alone for years, yet the sensation of being watched settled like lead across his chest. What was hunting him? Mysterious disappearances had plagued the town lately, stories swirling like ghosts between terrified whispers. Days melted into nights as families vanished without a trace, leaving behind nothing but unanswered questions and broken hearts. Alex's own connection to the shadows felt stronger now. Was he next on this grim list? And then he remembered. 7 distinct ways laid out in cryptic symbols, the ways to adapt or succumb. What did it all mean? What dark forces were at play? The hairs on the back of his neck prickled. He knew he was onto something, and it would change everything. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Alex's trembling hands flipped open to the first page. Each symbol felt alive. Could they lead him to the truth or plunge him deeper into darkness? A muffled thud echoed from the hallway, pulling him back to reality. A chill splintered down his spine. He wasn't alone anymore. He clenched his fists, heart racing as the very walls seemed to whisper, urging him to unlock the secrets hidden within that haunted book. What lurked behind that door? Was it friend or foe? The night thickened around him, and he took one last deep breath, every fiber of his being screaming for him to turn away. But something, an undeniable pull, urged him to press on. The door creaked open slowly, a soft, eerie whisper cutting through the tension in the air. Alex hardly dared to breathe, his heart hammering in his chest like a prisoner trying to escape. There it was again, a low rustle, like something dragging across the floor, sending chills raking down his spine. Every instinct urged him to flee, but curiosity clawed at him, pushing him to step forward with each tentative movement. The dim light from the room flickered, illuminating grotesque shapes on the walls that twisted and writhed like living nightmares. And then he heard it, a faint, shuddering sob that sent ice flooding through his veins. He had to know who or what was behind that door. As he took a hesitant step into the hallway, a shadow flitted past the end, a dark figure that sent a jolt of adrenaline coursing through him. "Hello?" he called out, his voice shaky, barely more than a whisper. Silence answered him, heavy and foreboding. Was he losing his mind? His gaze returned to the book clutched tight in his hands. The symbols now seemed to pulse with malevolent energy, mocking his uncertainty. Had it led him to this very moment? What did it mean? Suddenly, the sobbing turned into a harsh, broken laughter that reverberated through the narrow corridor. It twisted in his stomach, making him feel sick. He could no longer stand still. He had to confront what lay ahead, to face the unknown, and perhaps the truth behind those strange symbol-laden pages. The shadows felt alive, whispering secrets he was terrified to uncover. He pushed the door wider, stepping into the dim hallway where moonlight barely brushed the edges. The chilling laughter stopped. The air grew thick, heavy like a fog, and then he heard a soft breath, a plea, possibly a warning. "Help!" The voice was fragile, distorted, almost as if it was caught somewhere between this world and the next. Alex's heart pounded against his ribs, and he realized he wasn't just battling shadows. He was facing whatever had stalked the town, whatever had consumed so many before him. He turned his head in search of the voice. Who was there? Panic laced through his words, but he had to know. All the disappearances, the ghost stories that haunted his thoughts, were they tied to this voice? Before he could react, the air shifted. The weight against his chest grew heavier, almost suffocating. With each breath he felt tethered to something dark, something that whispered sweet promises of what he could uncover if he only followed. It was as if the book had opened a door not just to a physical place, but a door within himself, a doorway to an ancient fear that begot the very legends that danced on the tongues of the town's folk. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, its face obscured in darkness, yet its silhouette was unmistakable. You should have never come here, it hissed, the voice echoing like a death knell through the narrow corridor. Alex's stomach flipped. That was the line that had haunted him, the undeniable truth brimming beneath the surface of those cryptic pages. The world around him felt like it held its breath, waiting for his next move. Did he adapt to this fear, the rising chaos, or did he plunge deeper into the abyss? Get out, it pleaded, and in that moment Alex knew. They were all linked, the symbols, the book, the shadows, and whatever he trained his gaze on next would forever change him. As adrenaline surged, he made a frantic decision. It was now or never. He raced toward the figure, heart pounding, drawn by an unexplainable force. Could he finally uncover what had long been hidden, or was he sealing his own fate? Behind him, the kitchen door slammed shut, sealing off any escape, and just like that, darkness folded in around him, unveiling secrets he'd never wished to see. What awaited him beyond that fleeting light? Was the truth worth the peril that beckoned him onward? The figure loomed closer, its form a swirl of shadow and dread. Alex felt a prickling sensation slide down his spine, a silent scream clawing its way up his throat. Every instinct screamed at him to turn back, to flee into the safety of the known. But a voice deep inside urged him forward, a voice that hinted at revelation just within reach. Who are you? He gasped, desperate to uncover the truth behind the apparition. The air felt electric, charged with anticipation, as if reality itself was holding a collective breath. The figure shifted, and for a fleeting second, a pair of eyes glinted in the darkness, pale, haunting, as though they belonged to someone once cherished but now lost to time. You can't save them. The words felt like ice seeping into his bones. You were never meant to know. Fury and fear warred within Alex. But they need help. People have disappeared. What do you know about the book? About the symbols? His voice rose, fueled by desperation. They're not just symbols, they're anchors. They hold us here. The figure pointed toward the dilapidated walls, shadows traceable in the dim light. Every mark calls forth a piece of this world, a piece of what once was and what should never be. You play a part in something far greater than yourself. The laughter from earlier echoed again, a taunting reminder that this was no ordinary encounter. It reverberated through the corridor, twisting into something almost sinister. Shadows danced, creeping closer to Alex's feet, and he felt the chilling caress of despair as the figure continued its monologue. You brought it upon yourself when you opened the book. What you seek, it has already claimed many. You are next. Alex's breath hitched. The implications were staggering. A ghostly thread intricately woven between the past and his present. No, I refuse to believe I'm helpless. Belief won't change fate, whispered the figure, its mouth curving into a grin, teeth glinting like daggers in the gloom. You've already chosen to dig too deep. All those who came before, they also thought they could escape. With a sudden clap of thunder, the lights flickered violently, and the shadows shrieked as if alive, thrumming with a hunger that made his stomach churn. The figure started to dissolve into the darkness, leaving Alex feeling adrift in a torrent of fear and regret. Wait! He shouted, his pulse racing. What do I do? How do I break this curse? Find the heart, it breathed, the last vestige of its form fading away. Find what binds them to this realm. Silence fell like a heavy curtain, smothering his cries. With the figure's disappearance, so too did the weight of despair ease from the room just for a moment. It was then Alex understood. Whatever the heart was, it was hidden amidst the tangle of torment that this darkened place held. The kitchen door was locked tight, but Alex felt an invisible tug deep in the corridor. A path carved out of the invisible anguish. He took a step forward, adrenaline pumping through his veins, more determined than ever to uncover the treacherous truth. Then he heard it. a distant wailing raw and aching. It echoed through the walls, calling him deeper into the darkness. Someone was there, someone lost and begging for help. What price would he pay to find them? And what would remain if he pulled the heart from its hiding place? As he ventured forth, heart racing and breath quickening, fragments of the past began to sift through his mind, the stories, the disappearances, the company he had once ignored. The darkness stirred almost mockingly, ready to devour him whole, and just as a flickering light broke through the thick veil of night, a door creaked open in the distance, revealing a figure shrouded in shadows. Who or what was waiting on the other side? The shadowy figure lingered just beyond the door, a fleeting silhouette against the faint glow seeping through the crack. Alex hesitated, the weight of uncertainty pressing heavy on his chest. Every instinct told him to retreat, to escape whatever darkness lurked in that room. Yet the anguished wailing still echoed in his mind, a persistent lure that drew him closer. "Hello?" he called out, his voice trembling as it cut through the suffocating silence. The response was potent, an almost visceral chill that swept over him as the door slowly creaked wider. As the figure stepped into the light, Alex's heart dropped. It was a woman, her features obscured by a curtain of unkempt hair that fell around her cheeks, clinging like vines. Fear danced in her wide, terrified eyes. Yet there was something about her that felt familiar, like a forgotten piece of a long-lost memory. "Please," her voice was a whisper, fragile and desperate. "You have to help me." "What happened?" Alex took a tentative step forward, drawn to her stricken demeanor. He could feel her pain radiating like heat from a fire, palpable and consuming. They took them," she stammered, clutching her arms as if trying to ward off invisible hands. "The lost souls. They're trapped here because of the book. You mustn't let them take you too." "What do you mean? Who took them?" His mind raced, piecing together the shadowy figure's warnings with her words. "I need to find the heart." At the mention of the heart, her eyes widened further, glistening with unshed tears. "You don't understand. The heart isn't a thing, it's a person. They're drawing power from them. You can't let them use you. You must leave. Now." Panic surged within him, each beat of his heart pulsing in sync with the growing dread wrapping itself around his throat. "I can't leave. I have to help them." Suddenly the air thickened, as if the walls themselves pressed closer, the darkness curling around Alex's limbs like serpents ready to strike. The woman's form began to blur at the edges, shadows licking at her feet. In a frantic gasp, she reached out to him. "The deeper you go, the darker it gets. Trust me, you don't want to see them." The screams intensified, reverberating through the walls, a cacophony of sorrow that cut deep into his gut. But more than the sound, there was an unmistakable presence, an undercurrent of energy stirring the atmosphere around him. Images flashed through Alex's mind, faces of the missing, etched in desperation, fading like old photographs, their pleas growing louder. He couldn't abandon them. "Wait!" he shouted, desperate for answers as he grabbed her arm. "Tell me their names." As if her name itself would unravel the truth, she screamed, "You have to choose. But each choice has a cost, and the cost will haunt you forever." With that, the figure dissolved, leaving Alex grasping at nothing but shadows. The air returned, heavy and foreboding, a reminder of the once familiar path he now navigated. A primal instinct, raw and fierce, surged within him. The path led deeper into the bowels of the building, where torment dwelled in each shadow and heartache echoed in each silent space. It was a realm where choices held sway over life and death. He moved forward, driven by a need to face whatever horror lay ahead, and the wailing crescendoed into a singular note that pierced through the deceptive silence of the corridor. Could he confront the darkness that awaited him? Would the heart he sought bring salvation or damnation? Just then, from the depths of the shadows ahead, a soft, sinister laughter curled toward him like smoke. "Come and see." "Alex, if you dare!" A chill raced up his spine, marking the moment before he stepped further into the dark. What awaited in the depths of that void? And would he emerge unscathed, or would he lose everything he held dear? The corridor seemed to stretch endlessly before Alex, a twisting maze of darkness and foreboding. With each step, the laughter echoed in his mind, taunting him, urging him deeper into the unknown. The walls felt alive, shifting with the shadows, as if they had a pulse. Every thrum echoed with an unyielding hunger. A flickering light danced just ahead, illuminating fragments of the pathway. Shadows roamed like lost spirits, whispering secrets he couldn't quite grasp. The air turned thick, not only with dread but with a strange electricity, a tether binding him to the woman whose plea still rang in his ears. Choose wisely, the voice had warned, and it gnawed at him like a relentless itch beneath his skin. The choices he made would shape the lives of others and possibly his own soul. Suddenly, he stumbled upon a room sparsely illuminated by an ancient chandelier, its crystals glimmering like shattered dreams. The air stunk of mold and decay. Along its perimeter lay shattered remnants of what seemed like once vibrant paintings, torn faces, figures blurred in anguish, frozen in time. They spoke of time lost, of moments snatched away by dark hands. Help them! A voice shrieked from the far corner, a child's voice that cut through his thoughts like a knife. Alex whirled, his heart racing, each beat a countdown to what he might find. He stepped cautiously, drawn to the sound. Who's there? His voice quavered, betraying his unease. Please. They need you. The book has them. The voice pleaded, accompanied by a weeping that resonated with the urgency of despair. Wait. I'm coming. He pushed forward, compelled by a rush of determination, even as the shadows seemed to thicken, reaching out to pull him back into their cold embrace. He rounded a corner and found a small girl sitting on the floor, her heartbroken face streaked with tears. Her toys were scattered around her, lifeless in the dim light, and though her body was there, her spirit seemed far away. What do you mean, the book? He pressed, crouching to her level, fear prickling at the nape of his neck. Her wide eyes were pools of sorrow but shone with the flicker of fragile hope. They're trapped inside that book. It binds them, holds them like prisoners. She pointed to a large tome resting ominously on an old pedestal across the room, its leather cover cracked and ornate. You have to set them free. Alex's mind reeled. Every bone in his body screamed at him to turn back, to run away from this nightmare. But the weight of the girl's gaze anchored him, urging him to confront the terror. As if sensing his hesitation, a deep rumbling echoed from above, the ceiling groaning like an ominous warning. Dust fell in thick, heavy clouds, and the temperature plummeted. Shadows writhed violently, their long fingers stretching toward him, hungry to latch on. Don't let them near you. The girl's voice shook with fear as she scrambled backwards, her tiny hands desperate for protection. Just then, Alex felt an oppressive pressure push against him from all sides. It wasn't just the darkness, it had a will of its own, a sentience that craved his surrender. But he couldn't. Not now. Not when lives hung in the balance. What they don't want you to know, her words whispered through the haze, barely audible above the chaos. The room pulsed and he could feel the raw energy of the trapped souls pulsating within the book, begging to be released, to break free from the chains of despair. With newfound resolve, he lunged toward the tome, every instinct telling him to resist the shadows clawing at his mind. Panic surged, but so did a tidal wave of clarity. Each footfall felt like a small act of defiance against the abyss closing in around him. What if it consumes you instead? That chilling thought echoed, paralyzing in its weight. As the shadows encircling him thickened, stealing himself, he reached for the book. What waited for him beyond its cover? Redemption or ruin? The answers lay within, and there was only one way to find out. He turned the page and then, the world exploded in chaos, shadows converging in a blinding storm around him. The laughter grew boisterous, swirling into a mantra that threatened to drown him. Choose, Alex. Choose or be lost forever. In that moment, as the weight of countless souls pressed upon him, he realized this was just the beginning. With a scream that echoed through the corridors of torment, he plunged into the pages, into the heart of darkness. But what he found inside was beyond anything he could have imagined. The moment Alex dove into the pages, the air shifted violently, morphing into something palpable, almost corrosive. He was no longer standing in that dimly lit room but adrift in an abyss where shadows loomed larger than nightmares. Voices swirled around him, a cacophony of desperate cries, fragmented phrases lost in echoes of the past. Help me, don't leave. The ethereal whispers clawed at his mind, dragging him down deeper into darkness. Each voice demanded attention, begging to be acknowledged. And yet, there was something more sinister lurking within the depths. A chilling laughter that rolled over him like thunder, mocking his uncertainty, fueling his fear. He felt the weight of the book in his hands, its cover now warm to the touch, pulsating with an unnatural rhythm. A wave of dread washed over him as he opened the tome. Instead of ink, the pages were filled with shadows, swirling images of despair and pain that captivated his thoughts. Flashes of faces appeared, desperate eyes, twisted mouths echoing the very fears he had fought to escape. "What have you done?" a voice boomed, shattering the oppressive veil around him. It was deep and echoing, a voice laced with anguish. "Who are you?" Alex shouted, struggling to find his grounding in this insidious world. "What is this place?" "You are in my domain now," the voice replied coldly. "And you have unleashed what should have remained bound." With each word, the shadows thickened, wrapping around him, drawing tighter as if constricting his breath. Emotional weight crushed against his chest every moment. He hesitated, turned into a tangible force. "The souls you see, they were never meant to be freed. You thought you could save them?" The laughter erupted again, a twisted symphony of despair mixed with cruelty. "You're merely setting the stage for a darker ending." A flicker of fear ignited in his belly. He wasn't just in a book, he was part of an intricate trap, a web woven with the threads of anguish and dread. "Let them go," Alex cried out, rage surging like a sudden storm. "I refuse to let you keep them." Suddenly the shadows recoiled, retreating as if stung. A shimmering light broke through the darkness, momentarily illuminating the chaos around him. In that fleeting moment he could see the trapped souls in their tortured forms, faces etched with fear, pleading. Hoping he would lend them strength, he could almost reach them. The energy surged in the air around him as he felt the barrier of fear weaken, just enough for him to relay his intent. "By my will, I refuse to be part of your darkness." He thrust his hand forward, channeling every ounce of courage, every shred of hope. "I choose to fight." The laughter faltered, replaced by a cacophony of shrieks. The shadows writhed violently, slashing at his resolve, as if trying to cut off the light he had summoned. "Foolish boy." The sinister voice was back, wrathful and seething. "You'll regret this." But Alex felt differently. There was a flame igniting within him, one that refused to be smothered. "I won't be a pawn in your game any longer." With each word, the pages of the book rattled, and shadows pulsated as if caught in a maelstrom, swirling both around him and the trapped souls. Was it working? Did he have the power to shift the tide? Just as the light began enveloping the souls, a solitary whisper broke through the air. "Choose again." Alex, the voice was haunting yet familiar. It bore all the weight of the choices he had made and the path that lay ahead. The urgency hit him like a crashing wave. Everything depended on the next moment. He shut his eyes tight, the sound swirling around him, uncertain of what would follow. But he had to choose. Heaven or despair. Light or shadow. As he made his decision, the darkness surged one last time, swirling around like a tempest, threatening to consume him whole. Would he plunge further into the night, or would he break free? The answer hung in the balance as the abyss roared. The darkness churned around him, an unforgiving storm of shadows. They clawed at Alex, their cold tendrils curling around his limbs, threatening to pull him under. Panic gripped him like a vice. "Light! I choose light!" He yelled into the chaotic void, his voice barely more than a whisper against the onslaught of shadows. In that moment of desperation, something extraordinary happened. The shadows trembled. A blinding radiance exploded from Alex's chest, eradicating the encroaching darkness. A surge of warmth enveloped him, pushing back the cold fingers that had sought to snuff out his spirit. Alex gasped as he opened his eyes, taking in the blinding light that now surrounded him. The trapped souls flickered at the edges of his vision, their eyes wide with hope and terror. He could feel their energy attempting to join his, like lost stars trying to break through a long-lasting night. But then, almost effortlessly, the shadows fought back, regrouping in dense layers, eager to reclaim their lost territory. The laughter, that horrific laughter, echoed again, now sharper, angrier. "Fool! Do you think you can wield light against me?" The voice mocked, reverberating like a guttural growl through the void. "You are but a child lost in this realm. I'm not afraid of you." With every fiber of his being, Alex pushed against the unbeaten dark, drawing strength from the light within. Tendrils of illumination shot from his fingertips, aiming toward the bound souls. One by one, their features began to brighten, as if the light sparked something inside them too. Their fear morphed into determination. They grasped at the light, bolstering Alex's stride. He could sense it, a network of souls linking with him, a conduit of hope against despair. "Join me. Together we can break free," he shouted, his voice resonating louder, filled with an energy he didn't know he had. As the collective energy swirled, it formed a blinding beacon. For a split second, he could see the faces of the trapped. Men, women, children, their lives had been snuffed out, discarded in the dark void. Alex felt their anguish seep into him, amplifying his resolve. But just as the brilliance reached a crescendo, it was met with an explosion of darkness. A vicious roar reverberated through the void, scattering the fragile light. The sinister voice became a tempest, clawing back with more intensity. "You think you're strong? I will shatter your dreams and drown this place in despair." With a renewed ferocity, Alex screamed, "No, I will not let you win." He drew the threads of hope tighter, weaving them into a shield against the encroaching storm. The souls rallied around him, light pooling into a protective barrier. But cracks spread as shadows bit deeper. He could feel the weight of despair pushing him down, cold, heavy, and relentless. Just when the shadows threatened to completely engulf him, the familiar whisper returned, more urgent this time. "Alex, you must remember who you are. Only then will you reclaim your strength." The flicker of recognition ignited within him. Memories of laughter, friends, moments of joy and resilience filled his heart. He was Alex, not just a boy in a book but a force against darkness. Fueled by the memories of his past, he reached deeper into the light, allowing it to burst forth in a final triumphant wave, the brilliance so intense it seemed to shatter reality itself. As the shadows writhed and screamed, Alex's surroundings began to dissolve, shifting like restless water. "Choose, Alex." The shadows clamored, threatening to drown out the light within, but his decision was firm. Gripping the book tightly in his hands, he roared, his declaration ringing through the chaos. "I choose freedom." The shadows shrieked as a powerful light engulfed him, but what would it cost to break free? As beams of radiant energy flooded the void, Alex felt the weight lift, but questions swirled around him like a maelstrom. Where would he emerge? Was victory truly within reach, or did darker forces still lurk, waiting to claim his soul? The light surged brighter, and in that moment of brilliance, everything faded to a chilling whisper. The world around Alex shattered into a cascade of colors. He felt weightless, like he was floating through an endless void, but the warmth and comfort from the light surrounded him, offering a stark contrast to the terror he'd just escaped. As his vision cleared, Alex found himself standing on a hilltop, under a stark blue sky. Clouds drifted lazily overhead, completely at odds with the chaos he'd just faced. The tranquility felt surreal, and for a moment, it almost deceived him into forgetting the darkness that had threatened to consume him. But then he heard it, a distant echo that sent shivers racing down his spine. The laughter. It clawed at him, teasing and taunting. It was just out of reach, reverberating in his mind. "Where am I?" he muttered, scanning the horizon for any sign of the souls he had fought to save. But all that lay before him was a vast expanse of rolling hills. No remnants of the darkness, no proof of the battle, yet the feel of it lingered. A ghost that wouldn't let go. As he hesitated, a rush of cold wind swept through the air, biting against his cheeks. Instinctively, he hugged the book tighter to his chest. It felt like a lifeline, a fragile thread connecting him to that other realm. "Hello?" he called out. His voice echoed, then faded into silence. The stillness around him felt ominous, almost like a trap. He knelt and pressed his fingers into the grass, seeking comfort from the earth beneath him. It was then that he noticed something shimmering near his feet. A small flickering shape hovered above the ground, a fragment of light, akin to a firefly caught in the dawn. As Alex reached out, the light danced away, leading him further down the hill. Desire to understand urged him on. He followed, heart racing. The little spark zipped through the air, weaving through the tall grass before darting to the right and settling just ahead, pulsating like a heartbeat. Driven by a mix of curiosity and unease, Alex approached cautiously. "Who are you?" he whispered, unsure if the light could understand his words. To his shock, the light thrummed back, filling the space with a warm, resonant sound that drummed into his very core. A voice, soft yet commanding, echoed through the air. "You must seek the others. They are waiting for you. Our survival depends on your strength." Questions flooded his mind. Who were these others? What did they know? Panic flared again, and he fought to keep it at bay. What do I need to do? Trust in the light. But beware, the darkness follows closely. The voice warned, fading into an unsettling silence. With newfound determination, Alex steadied himself. He couldn't allow fear to paralyze him. He had to remember the faces of those he had fought for. He took a deep breath, feeling the strength of their hope resonate inside him. Turning away from the beacon of light that had just guided him, he made his way down the hill, the soft earth crunching beneath his feet. He felt like a warrior stepping into an unknown battlefield. Every nerve in his body tingled with anticipation and dread. But the laughter returned, echoing louder this time, swirling around him like a storm without end. You think you can escape? You'll never be free of me. Determined, Alex plunged forward, the sound of his own heartbeat drowning out the mocking laughter. New resolve built inside him. Yet just as he took his first steps into the unknown, the ground cracked beneath him, the beautiful hillside splitting open to reveal a dark chasm, a void calling him back to where he had fought so fiercely. With every ounce of his strength, he leaped away from the edge, narrowly escaping the grasp of the shadows reaching for him. But something new awaited him on the opposite side, a figure shrouded in mist, standing alone in the light. Alex, we've been waiting for you. Fear and hope wrestled within him. Who was this figure? And what lay ahead? Was this truly the path to freedom? Or a deeper plunge into darkness? The figure in the mist seemed to shimmer with an ethereal glow, illuminating the contours of its silhouette against the backdrop of the bright sky. Alex squinted, trying to decipher the features hidden within the shadows. Every instinct told him to be wary, but curiosity outweighed caution. Who are you? He asked, his voice steadier than he felt. What do you want from me? The figure stepped forward, and the mist curled away, revealing a woman with striking azure eyes and hair that flowed like silver. She held a presence that felt both calming and unsettling. I am Lysandra, guardian of this realm and keeper of the balance, she said, her voice soft but carrying an unmistakable authority. What balance? I don't understand, he stammered, the enormity of her words settling on him like a weight. Lysandra extended her arm, revealing a swirling projection of images above her palm, glimpses of figures lost in shadow, moments of despair, and glimmers of hope. The world you left behind teeters on the edge of destruction. Only you can mend what has been broken. Your bravery is their hope. A knot tightened in his stomach. The faces of those he fought for flickered in the vortex of images, and Alex felt like a wave sweeping through him. But I'm not strong enough, he protested, his voice barely above a whisper, the laughter still haunting him. I barely made it here. I ran away. Running is a decision, Alex. But you have the power to change your fate. Her gaze bore into him as if she saw every doubt, every regret locked within his heart. You cannot fight this battle alone. You must find the others, those who stand with you, each with a gift that can help combat the darkness. In that moment, the clarity of her words struck him. He felt the stirring of purpose flicker within him, pushing back the shadows of despair. Where do I find them? He asked, resolve hardening in his chest. The light guides you. Follow the path through the woodland of whispers. She gestured toward a dense forest that had emerged from the haze beyond the hill. But beware, for the darkness will attempt to divert you, to lie and deceive. As she spoke, a chill wind swept across the hills, carrying with it the tantalizing echoes of that laughter. Don't let it take hold of you. Trust yourself, Alex. I'll do it. The words burst forth, a new wave of determination flooding him. I'll find them. Lysandra nodded, the mist around her swirling like tendrils of sage smoke. Remember the light within you, it will guide your way. Before Alex could respond, she began to fade, like the morning mist retreating from the sun. Panic gripped him. Wait. What if trust, she echoed, her voice now a mere whisper in the wind. With that, she vanished, leaving Alex standing alone on the hilltop, the vibrant colors of the world now dulled by uncertainty. Yet behind the fear, his heart raced with newfound purpose. He stepped toward the forest, the laughter of the darkness twirling endlessly in the air around him. Each step into the unknown felt like a gamble. He was racing against time, against shadows that wanted nothing more than to see him falter. As he reached the edge of the woodland of whispers, the trees loomed tall and thick, their trunks twisting like gnarled fingers. An uneasy silence wrapped around him, broken only by the distant rustling of leaves, whispering secrets he couldn't yet understand. Just as he took a deep breath to plunge forward, a shadow flickered at the corner of his vision. He turned, heart racing. But nothing was there. Just the looming darkness, waiting. Alex clenched his fists and stepped into the woodland, the oppressive silence closing in behind him. Trust, he murmured, battling against the suffocating fear. He moved deeper, a strange sound rising from the depths of the trees, a soft whimper, eerily familiar. Was it hope? Or was it the darkness beckoning him back? And as he pressed onward, a question gnawed at him. What if he wasn't alone in this fight? What secrets did the woods hold? Somewhere in the shadows, he sensed they were waiting for him. The woodland of whispers was alive, its silence pregnant with tension and scattered sounds that tickled Alex's ears. It felt like stepping into another realm, shadows wrapping their arms around him like long-lost friends. But there was also something unsettling lurking beneath the surface. The deeper he tread, the more paranoid he felt, as if the very trees were listening, tracking his every step. A sudden rustle snapped him out of his thoughts. Heart racing, Alex spun toward the source of the noise. Hello? He called, trying to keep the quiver from his voice. Silence answered, thick and suffocating. He took a deep breath, ready to move on, when a soft whimper met his ears again. Was it real or an echo of his own fears? Curiosity bit at him like a relentless bug, and he pushed deeper into the thicket. He followed the sound, weaving between twisted roots and low branches. His heart drummed harder with each step, pumping urgency through his veins. What awaited him beyond the next shrub? Would it be hope or a trap planted by darkness? Suddenly, he found himself in a small clearing, moonlight flooding through the treetops. In the center of the glade knelt a figure, back turned to him, shoulders heaving with quiet sobs. Hey! Alex called, stepping forward, cautious yet torn between worry and instinct. Are you okay? The figure turned. It was a boy, no older than 12, with wild, tangled hair and tear-stained cheeks. Fear flickered in his eyes but was quickly replaced by a sense of recognition. You came, he said, clutching a small tattered stuffed bear. They told me you would. Who told you? Alex demanded, sensing urgency in the child's voice. What are you doing here? The shadows, the boy whimpered, clutching the bear tighter, as if it were the only tether left to reality. They took my friends. They told me to wait, that you would come to help us. But I'm scared. I don't want to be here anymore. Alex's heart twisted. He could see how lost the boy was, echoing the countless faces he'd seen trapped in darkness. I'm here now, he assured, crouching down to the boy's level. We'll find them together. But you need to tell me everything you know. The boy's eyes widened. They're trapped in the heart of the woods at the Hollow of Shadows. You must hurry. Desperation filled his voice. But it's filled with danger. The shadows are watching, waiting to take you too. Determination surged inside Alex. The fight was never just about himself anymore. It extended to this boy, the lost souls, and those who had gone before. I won't let them take anyone else, he promised, feeling electricity crackling in the air. But you have to choose. The boy said urgently. The light or the dark, you can't have both. Picking one will shape everything. Just like before, the weight of choices loomed over him. He nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. Whatever I have to do, he breathed. But doubt still shadowed his resolve. With the boy beside him, they ventured deeper into the woodland. Shadows loomed like sentinels, stretching ominously across the path ahead. A wretched laugh sliced through the stillness, a reminder that darkness lay in wait, ready for him to falter. But he pressed on, gripping the boy's shoulder as they moved. As they approached the Hollow of Shadows, Alex could see dim flickers of light mingling with swirling dark forms. Faces twisted in pain, and a collective howl rose, raising the hairs on the back of his neck. This is it, he whispered to the boy, feeling the weight of their mission crushing down on him. Stick close. We can't get separated. The boy nodded determinedly, a small flicker of hope igniting in his eyes. Together they stepped through the threshold of darkness, where shadows loomed menacingly. It felt like entering a storm, a tempest of sorrow, rage, and unfulfilled desires that clawed at Alex's mind. Suddenly, the shadows surged forward, twisting and writhing with menacing intent. You've come to join them. They jeered, voices layered and malicious, echoing nightmares. They locked themselves in with you. Are you ready to pay the price? Alex felt the cold rush of fear but pushed it away with every ounce of strength he had left. He could not cower, not now. I will save them. Light will prevail, he shouted, ready to channel the energy that had burned within him before. Magic surged through his fingertips, their warmth igniting in a brilliant blaze. He sent tendrils of light careening toward the shadows, illuminating the faces of those lost. Their eyes widened, connecting with him, echoing a collective plea of desperation. As light swelled, shadows recoiled in horror, screeching in anguish. You think you can escape? You cannot leave this realm, they howled, their voices merging into a cacophony of rage. But Alex stood firm. I choose freedom, he declared, pushing the light outward, illuminating the edges of their prison. He could feel the boy's presence beside him, a buoy of strength fortifying his resolve. The light flared even brighter, illuminating all the lost souls, each one filled with a flicker of recognition. Hope surged through Alex and he called out to them. Come to me. Trust in the light. One by one, souls began to emerge, stretching out toward the brightness, their shackles of darkness breaking with every flick of light. The screams of anguish turned to cries of relief, and they were merging into a powerful force, weaving together in a chain of determination. Just as victory felt tangible, the darkness surged back, fierce and relentless. You're too late. You can't save them all. Alex's heart ached with every word. He could never save them all, but each soul mattered. You won't take anyone else. He pushed harder, light pouring out like a roaring wave as he faced the shadows head-on. With a final powerful shout, the light erupted, scattering darkness in every direction. The hollow of shadows split apart, revealing an array of brilliant colors. The laughter faded, replaced by whispers of gratitude and freedom as the cleansing light encapsulated the clearing. Alex stood in awe. He had done it. They had done it together. Souls around him glimmered brighter than stars as they finally broke free from the chains binding them to despair. Thank you. The boy beamed, clutching his teddy bear tightly. You saved us. Alex smiled back, breathless and relieved. We did it together. Now we must keep moving. But as he turned, shadows still lurked at the edges of the forest, whispers crawling back into his mind. This is not over. Alex, we will meet again. Holding the boy's hand firmly, Alex stepped into the light, ready for whatever awaited. The journey was more than just survival. It was a battle of courage, one that rested in the hands of those brave enough to face the darkness. Together, they would forge a new path, one lit with hope and determination, unyielding against the whispers of despair. And as the sun began to rise, illuminating the world beyond, they knew one thing for certain. Darkness was always lurking, but as long as they stood together, the light would always find a way. Now, before we wrap this up, let's recognize how important your participation is. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Smash that like button right now to feed the algorithm and support our channel. And don't forget to flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this epic conclusion. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this thrilling finale. You won't regret it. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to join us in the journey.